Hello and welcome. Jay Fazette here, your millionaire mastermind mentor, and I am so pleased that you are here. So, you've been thinking about running your own mastermind. I love that. Now, just to be clear about this, I'm going to talk to you a little bit while I make some supper for my boys and my dear wife, who they are out at the Saddle Dome. So, this thing about your mastermind. You wouldn't be here right now if you didn't seriously want to do something in the range of masterminds. And tonight, as you know, if you've been following along, tonight is the cart close. This is sort of the decision deadline. The truth of the matter is myself, my team, Josh, my joint venture partners, we've all done basically everything we can. And at this stage of the game, you know what? It's about time for a little wine, it's about time for some nice supper, and I just wanted to have a brief conversation with you about this decision. Now, I teach personal transformation courses. I've done it for years. And one of the fundamental concepts of what we teach, I've got water in there. That's sort of bad form for wine, but I'm going to do it anyway. One of the fundamental decisions, or one of the fundamental concepts that I work on in the gift and a variety of the other programs, is that it's not so much what you decide that matters in your life. The far bigger issue is how you make the choice, how you choose. Because here's the truth of the matter, that most human beings make their decisions from a position of fear, lack, and scarcity. So they're afraid of the consequences, so they make a decision. They lack not enough time, there's not enough money, there's not enough support, there's not enough of something. And scarcity, which is a little bit different than just the lack piece. Scarcity is that feeling of, I'm not enough, I'm not sure I can, there just isn't enough out in the world, I've got to fight for mine, it's just an off, icky grounding. And the honest God truth is, the vast majority of the world, that's how they make their choices. Now, we're coming to the deadline for your choice about joining the Launch Your Mastermind 90-Day Bootcamp. And here it is, my friends. It doesn't matter to me what you choose. It really doesn't matter to me what you choose. The course is absolutely packed. It makes no difference to me in terms of my life and my world if you choose to do it or if you don't. But from the bottom of my heart, I want you to choose to take the course. But I want you to choose to take it from this perspective, from the perspective of love, from the perspective of mission, from the perspective of contribution. Because when you make the decision, moving towards what you love, what you're going to contribute, and how that's going to make a difference, and you live in your mission, when you do that, you know what? You can't help but win. Because you are moving towards what is most important to you. I'm doing a lot of talking and not much cooking. Give me a second. So what struck me when I wanted to just have our last little conversation, what struck me was this, was that there was a decision that I made, and ironically enough, the decision was about participating in a mastermind. And that decision was one of the most pivotal moments in my life. And if you've been following along, you've been hearing examples of me and my friend Colin, who I trained as a facilitator, and then we did some elite mastermind things. But I haven't told people the whole story. So I'd like to tell you the whole story because I think it's really significant. You know when you have your favorite spice and it's supposed to be right where you left it? It's not. There we go. So I got to put some context to this. Some of you have heard the story, some of you haven't. So a gentleman, friend of mine, he comes and takes our courses and then decides he'd like to become a facilitator. He's really talented. We train him. He leads some of my programs, which was at the time called Personal Best Level 3. And then he scoots off doing a bunch of work for an organization called EO, which is YEO at the time, Young Entrepreneurs Organization. Now he comes back and he has a very clear vision of what it is that he wants to do. He wants to lead high-end retreats with fantastic entrepreneurs, building a great community. All sounds great. And he says, I want you to come and do the personal development, the mindset, that piece, because I think you'd be fantastic at it. Now, I should tell you, over the years, I have something like 40,000 graduates in the personal development domain. It's a lot. And over the years, if I've had this happen once, I've had it happen, geez, it's got to be 1,000 times. Somebody shows up who's never done our courses and says this, hey, I just got my certification for facilitating from Mount Royal College, and I know I can lead your program, so I'd like a job leading your program. It's like, well, do you really know what we do? Well, no, but I'm a facilitator. I could do it. And it's like, you're a clueless facilitator if you think that you can just wander through the doors because you've got a piece of paper and deliver our programs. It's a 2-year process before somebody solos. Anyway, so that has been frustrating to me over the years, to be perfectly honest. Not one of those people has ever worked for me, just to be clear. So Colin had been doing these events for a while, and he says, I'd like you to do it with me, I'd like you to lead it with me, I'd like you to be a partner. And I say to him, well, here's the thing. I think that I should put my butt in the chair first. I should experience it from the other side. After all, I've been insisting that people do that in my world. So tell me, how much is it? All those sorts of things. I'll pay. I'll put some time in the seat first so I understand it. And he says, I don't think that's necessary for you. And well, maybe just do it, as a comp. And it's like, no, I think I should pay because it's important for me to put my money on the line and for me to value this. Now, what's interesting about this is at this point, I didn't know how much it cost. So anyway, we have the conversation. He says, well, okay, it's $16,000. And I went, because I was not expecting that. I think as a matter of fact, we were having wine when we were having that conversation. And I went, and then I took a big sip. Not staged for the purpose of drinking. Anyway. So what transpires is that I go home and I say to my dear wife, Corey, and by the way, Corey did a bunch of Colin's trainings, and she knew him, liked him, respected him, all the rest of it, but she did say these words to me. She said, are you on crack? You're going to spend $16,000 to go sit in the chair in a mastermind of a guy that you trained, a guy that we trained? You really think we need to spend that kind of money on it? Now, here was the defining factor in spending that money and choosing to do that. It was very simple to me, is that I had the benefit of masterminds in almost every aspect of my life. Personal development, family, facilitator training, like all of these areas. I'd had these masterminds that were really, really fantastic. But where I was very alone, like very alone, and I'd never let myself get into a spot where I was really supported by that, was in the area of business. So what I said to Corey is that I might be a little crazy, as she well knows I am. That's entirely possible. But I actually think that outside of the opportunity, outside of working with Colin, outside of all of those things, is that I think for the first time in my life, I felt like I was ready and willing to let myself be supported in the business arena. Now, I have to put this in perspective for any of you, because I have an assumption, and here's my assumption, that a bunch of you are a little bit like me. And what I mean by that is, there we go. What I mean by that is that I'm willing to bet that you have built most of your business alone. I'm willing to bet that you have a fiercely independent streak. I'm willing to bet that part of the reason why you have been uncertain about registering for the Mastermind Bootcamp is that you don't quite get this whole thing about what a mastermind is and working together and really accepting support and really transforming your business in that manner. That's my wager. Now, I could be wrong. It's entirely possible, but I want you to hear this story about how I made this decision and what it meant to me. It's convenient. I'm holding a knife. So Corey and I have this long conversation, and finally I say to her, you know what, hon? This is what it feels like for me in the business world. It feels like I am in the jungle. And I am working hard in the jungle. In fact, I have a machete. I'm not just holding a machete. The machete has been in my hand for so long that it's like part of my hand. I can't even let it go. And all I've been doing at that stage of the game for years, I've been hacking at the jungle, making my way, because what's important is the work. What's important is blazing a path. What's important is doing it my way. I don't mind making a mistake because it's my mistake, and hacking at the jungle. Now, on good days, I could make some progress and I'd feel pretty good about it, hacking at the jungle, working. But if I were to be really honest and look behind me, I was going so slow that the jungle was growing in behind me. But as long as I didn't focus too much on that and where I was going, all was fine, because the value was in working hard, doing it my way, being an independent entrepreneur. I'm sure none of you can relate to that. So, me being me, in my little world where I put my jungle path is I put my jungle path, I would guess, metaphorically, it would have been about 50 yards. 50 yards from a freeway. And there would be moments where I'd be hacking through the jungle, and there'd be moments where I would hear this sound. And there would be somebody who was driving on the freeway, driving fast, going often the same direction that I was going. I could tell by the sound. But you know what? They were doing it the easy way. Those lazy bastards, they didn't know the value of the work, the value of creating, the value of doing it my way. And sometimes I would be all self-righteous, and I'd be all sort of indignant about lazy asses on the freeway. They don't know what it's like to do it the proper way. Now, every once in a while, not only would I hear the sound of boom, I would also hear some of these vehicles that would have music. They'd be like having a party. Some people would be giggling. And as I'm working, and I am working hard and hard and hard, and the jungle is going in behind me, and I'm trying to go faster, those assholes are over on the freeway, not just going faster, but having fun. How dare those rotten bastards? What do they think? Don't they know how important it is to make it hard? Don't they know how important it is to be independent? Don't they know how important it is to craft their own way? There they are, driving on someone else's freeway. Jerks. Now, that dialogue was not conscious, but that dialogue was there in every decision I made in my business. How I had to do it on my own. How I needed to craft my own way. How when people would offer to support, I would often say, no, I'm fine. My hand is just bleeding from cutting jungle, but I'm a tough guy. It'll be okay. I don't have to worry. So here's what happened. Corey and I have this conversation. I decide that no matter what happens with this opportunity with Colin, if I'm going to join that mastermind group, I am going to join it, and I'm going to put myself in it, heart, mind, and soul. And I make a decision as I write the check for $16,000. By the way, single pay, no payments, no nothing, have to pay it. I write the check for $16,000. I say to myself, and I actually say to Colin, I choose with this decision to move towards an experience of support, to move towards the experience of ease, to move towards the experience of joy, and to do it with a group of people that I love, that I respect, and that I will support with every fiber of my being. Now, honestly, that even touches me as I say it, because I remember just how clear it was. And I went to the very first mastermind meeting, put my heart on the line, all of those pieces, and I had the experience, and it was actually emotional for me. It was completely emotional for me. I had the experience, and I described it to the group like this. For the first time in my life, I felt supported like how my mom supports me. Totally, unconditionally, and completely. Now, here's the fascinating thing. I have this experience. I open myself up to support at a business level. And from that experience, opportunities, options, choices, income explode. Please hear this. None of them in the ways that I expected. None of them in the ways I expected. But to go back to my story of the machete, for that to have occurred, for my life to have been altered, for my business to have transformed, for me to even be here talking to you about masterminds, when I handed over that check and I said, I'm going to put myself in heart, mind, and soul, here's what really happened. I put the machete down. I made my way all the way over to the little freeway. I stood at the edge of the freeway, and I waited for a moment or two. Didn't have to wait for long, but in a moment or two, guess what happened? Here comes this loud, noisy bus with a bunch of fantastic people on it, and they pull over, the music's playing, there's a ton of fun, smiling people willing to support, and they welcomed me with open arms. That is what we're talking about. It's time to put down the machete. It's time to make it so damn tough. There's a supportive community at the Launch Your Mastermind Bootcamp. We will give you the tools. Even if you were like me and the thing was surgically, attached to your hand, we will let you, help you, support you, and teach you how to put it down. Put the damn thing down. And lock arms, join with a group of people that see a bigger picture, that are willing to say, hey, let's do this and have fun, and crank up not just your ease and your joy, but to crank up your contribution, to crank up the meaning that you make in other people's lives. And when you do that, I give you my word, you will never, ever, ever in your life be in a spot where you are not both in a mastermind and leading a mastermind. It'll just become a way of life for you. I seriously mean that. It will be a way of life. So, there's not much more to say about this. You have a decision to make. I got goop on my hands. It's an important decision. It's a decision that'll change the trajectory of your life. It'll change the trajectory of your business. But the most important part of this decision, the thing that you have got to keep square and straight in your head and in your heart, is that what you choose isn't going to matter that much. It really isn't. The truth of the matter is, if you don't do it, you'll continue to bop along doing your thing, having some great times, having some challenging times. It'll be pretty much the same. But if you choose to participate in the program and to do so moving towards greater contribution, the experience of love, the capacity to live your mission, if you do it from that perspective, this will be the most important thing that you've done in your life and in your business for a very long time. That's what this program is about. Leaving the low or no leverage activities, committing to the high leverage activities. So you have the time, the space, the freedom, the money, the abundance, the support to live your life and run your business on your terms. That's what I want for you. So, my friends, if this resonates with you, and I think that it does, you're probably trying to put your machete down as we're talking, otherwise you wouldn't be listening. Please handle your considerations. Handle the time, handle the money, hell, you can do payments, do whatever you got to do to organize this so that you can move from where you are today to a higher level of contribution, to a higher level of meaning, to a higher level of value, and greater ease and joy. Jay Fazette, your Millionaire Mastermind mentor. I look forward to seeing you in the program. Make the decision, moving towards what's important. Have a fantastic night, and I'm going to finish supper and have a glass of wine.